What was that? Never mind that. What was that?
Hi!
Who are you?
BARFF!
Not in here, mister. This is a Mercedes.
Nah, that's my name. BARFF!
BARFF? What are you?
And here we go. Take 2. BARFF Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Brian the Commish, joined here as always by the one and only Walt Mikulski. Walt, it's great to have you here tonight.
Hey, great to be here, Bri, on Zoom, and thanks again for pulling us all together.
Sure. We're joined here tonight by our participants in this year's BARFF title game. We had the final 4. Now we're down to 2. We've got Connor, owner of Huey Lewis and the News, and Kyle, owner of Sody Pantloads, joining us tonight, with Tyler making an appearance as well for some insight. And let's jump right into these games from last week. Walt, we usually start with your game. We're going to start with your game again. You take on the juggernaut and Huey Lewis and the News, and you fall short. Tell me about the pain that you suffered last week.
Well, luckily for me, there wasn't a lot of pain because Connor just kind of kicked the crap out of me. He was a schoolyard bully, kind of just pushed me around, bossed me around, starting Thursday night with Josh Jacobs, putting up 19. And then the real killer, of course, was Josh Allen on Saturday, who was just like unbelievable. The throws he was making. And watching that game, that's where I was kind of like, yeah, this is not looking good. I was pinning my hopes on Aaron Rodgers, with a really good matchup, thinking if he can get 30 plus, that he could take a little bit of a dent out of Allen, and it never materialized. Second half, basically the Packers did nothing. So does it hurt? Of course. I always want to get to a championship game, but when you kind of get the crap kicked out of you, it's a lot less painful, which is, I was going to ask you that same question. Would you rather lose in a kind of a nail biter, or would you rather just lose like I did and just really have no chance?
Oh, yeah, I've had a season full of throwing my hands up in the air, and so it's actually a pretty comfortable stance for me to take right now.
Right? It is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comfort in losing big.
There is. Those squeakers like we saw on the other side of the bracket, and we'll get to that after, those can take years off of your life, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's bring Connor in. Connor, our top team, you put up 169 points in this game, and you're started off with a huge game from Josh Allen. How did you feel as you went through the week? Did you get that hot start and just cruise, or were you nervous at any point this week?
Sorry, I was just having deja vu. Yeah, no, I wasn't really nervous, but I do get antsy because I just never think I'm going to win, because I just feel like I'm never going to win. But yeah, it was a great cushion to start off the week. The 2 early games, Jacobs played on Thursday and Josh Allen played on Saturday, so that was great. They put up like 60 combined. I will say though, on Thursday, I didn't start Herbert and he had 31, so I was like, oh great, like I didn't start the right guy, but it didn't really end up mattering because Allen outscored him by 10, so that was great.
Yeah, I don't know that you made the wrong decision with those 2 quarterbacks this year. I think that you always had the one with the most points in, which is really impressive. That's really impressive through the year. Walt, you put up 119 points. Were there any decisions that you made in the lineup that you wish you could go back and undo?
You could say, looking at Melvin Gordon, he had a really big game, but when I was looking at it, really it didn't bother me because really at no point did I consider putting Melvin Gordon in. I didn't like the matchup. There was questions about him and Lindsey even playing. They didn't get active until a few hours before the game started. So not really. There was nothing there that I guess I would change at all. Other than you leave points on the bench. You always kind of maybe think about, well, maybe if I did this. Not really. I didn't even feel that way at all. I just like I said, I pretty much set my lineup early, and that's what I was going to stick with. The only maybe move I made was picking up Cam Akers, thinking maybe that would have been a little better than Hilaire Edwards because he hadn't done anything, and Akers had a couple of good weeks, but nah, not really. I didn't really – there's nothing there that I would have really changed.
Yeah. Tyler, I'm going to bring you in on this topic. We've been harsh on ESPN's projections, and they projected Huey Lewis and the News to win big in this one. We criticized it on the podcast last week, and now it looks like ESPN was a little bit generous in their projections. Does that change your opinion of ESPN's projection system?
Not at all. I mean, even that stupid little slider they got going on now for these playoffs where it's showing the win percentage, it's all over the road. I don't think they still know what they're doing. Like I said, I think there's something going on over at ESPN headquarters, whatever it is, though. They should certainly get it figured out here because they have no idea what's going on. They just like to keep everyone on their toes and keep us guessing.
Yeah, there's a lot of technology going on with, we talked a lot about Watson, the projections. Now we've got these winning percentages. There's a lot going on. It's hard to keep track of. Kyle, we're going to talk about your game in a minute, but, you were watching this game, looking at potentially your opponent, and now you know that it's your opponent in the title game as you came out on top. What was your feeling on this game and how it turned out in the end?
I was both teams I was okay with coming out on top, but as I said last week, I did want to face Huey in the final, and I was glad he did come out with it because I do feel like he was overall just a better team. But once I saw what's his name, Josh Allen put up like 45 points, that's kind of when I knew Born to Run's death warrant was signed. It was the end of his season. Well, I knew that week one, but I think I'm glad Huey came out.
Yeah, and I'll say it the second time. I'm only disappointed in the outcome insofar as I wanted to get the "It Stops Here" T-shirts made. That would have been fun to distribute and watch the games wearing those T-shirts. But so let's move on to the other side of the bracket, Kyle, and we'll stay with you. Your game, you take on Christian's team, no lineup needed, and that game is not in good hands until the second half of the late game of the week. Tell me about your feelings as you watch this game go back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. I was shitting Twinkies the whole game. Right when Eric Ebron went out, I thought that was the end of things because I thought Ebron needed at least 10 to 15 points. And I figured the lead I had, Big Ben would cancel that out, and I needed Ebron to score more than Juju. And early on, I was like, that's not happening. Ebron was in for like 4 snaps, and then Juju was too busy making some TikToks, didn't learn ball security, job security, and he fumbled. And at half, Christian only had like 2 points from those guys, so that's when I thought I had a chance. And
it's hard to have ball security when you don't have any.
That's true.
Well,
I was actually well versed on balls. He's kind of aficionado when it comes to.
I know my gonads.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, what did you think about this game? It went back and forth. No one is going to expect Roethlisberger and Juju to combine for 10 points, and this is a 9-point victory. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, so it was insane. I mean, you're thinking you get into that game and you only need – Kyle, how many points was it that Christian needed?
You needed 20 to win.
20 to win against the Cincinnati Bengals of Roethlisberger and Juju Schuster-Smith. I'm like, it was in the bag, and I was even surprised it was even that close because Christian started out so strong with Waller throwing up 31 on Thursday night. And I was like, and then Kenyon Drake went out. I'm like, I just don't see how Kyle is going to overcome this. But typical Kyle fashion, he somehow finds a way of the other team. Something always happens. I don't know how he does it. But, yeah, no, it was really shocking. Kyle's, I think, fortunate. Kyler Murray, though, kind of reverted back to midseason form, having a 36-point game. That was huge, especially now when you look at what Roethlisberger did. That differential alone probably made the difference in the game. So, yeah, very surprising. Even the Derrick Henry, the last thing I'll say is that 25. I was watching that game. Derrick Henry could have had 45, but the Titans pulled them out a couple of times when they were right, close to the goal line. And so, hey, it just works out that way. But, yeah, I was a little surprised, but, Kyle had the right guys in again. And, to his credit, he goes to another championship game.
Yeah, Christian gets 50-plus points from the bottom 3 slots in the lineup, and when that happens for you, that's a great week, and you usually win.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so sure that we see teams with that much production down the bottom that lose, and it comes at a terrible time for Christian. They bow out. Connor, I'll ask you the same question I asked Kyle earlier. You're on the other side of the bracket watching this game. How did you think it was going to go, and who did you want to see come out on top?
I didn't know who was going to win. I thought it was going to be a toss-up. As the week went on, ESPN was saying their win probability was saying that no lineup had it. I think on Monday night it was like 80-20 or something like that. So I really didn't know who was going to win, but I did want to play Kyle. I just wanted to cement my legacy as the best owner.
Yeah, so that is the subplot as we head into this title game. Is we have an owner with 3 championships. We have an owner with 2 championships. We're either going to have someone with 4 or they're going to be tied at 3. Walt, let me ask you your feelings on the BARFF historical implications of this championship game.
So now that I've had to get a chance to think about this for a second time, there's a point I want to make, and I think this point is, if we look at the modern era of BARFF, when I don't know what year we went from everybody making the playoffs, or what was it, the top 8, that we then moved to the top 6. What do you know what year that was, Brian?
Yeah, it was actually a while ago. I want to say we've been doing this for like 7 or 8 seasons now.
Yeah. So with that being said, maybe that, taints a little of the Huey and the News legacy from early on. I do think there was one that.
Hey, that's just a chip on my shoulder. It's a chip on my shoulder. That's fine. Keep it coming.
Yeah,
I like it.
No problem. So with that being said, that's why I think this matchup is really important to really say of these two, who can
Walt,
make the claim.
Your title doesn't count either then.
True.
Well, it happened so long ago. It really doesn't, because when you think about it, the only title that really counts is the one that's happening in the next few days. Otherwise, it's all history. History's history. Right. It's the next one. So,
yeah.
But I think this one will kind of establish who's the dominant owner of the BARFF modern era. So I look forward to seeing the outcome of this title game.
Yeah, absolutely. Tyler, I'll bring you in. You've got 2 teams that we're singing the praises of right now. A historically significant game for the league. How do you see it going? Sody Pantloads versus Huey Lewis in the News.
So, as I said before, Connor, bounty on Kyle's head. Just want to reiterate that. I see Huey Lewis coming out, on top here. As I said, first one was on the podcast, earlier in the year. If you see Huey Lewis coming, you should be nervous. They're loaded top to bottom. Maybe with the commissioner's help, give him Kelsey. I don't know, yet to be seen. But I think Connor will pull this out, and finally topple Sody Pantloads.
Very good. Very good. So we've had a really exceptional year in BARFF, probably the best in history in regards to managerial decisions and moves and interest and study. I'm going to start with you, Connor. You made a good number of moves this year, trades and acquisitions. What was the one that you feel was the one that contributed the most to your success?
Before I get to that, I just want to say I think it makes the title game even bigger, because this was the year that I think everybody was most involved. So
I agree.
Whoever's in the title game this year is it's even bigger. But my biggest moves, obviously, this, Chris Carson for Travis Kelce. That was a huge trade. Kelsey's basically wide receiver 3 on the year or something like that. He's averaging 20. Carson gets hurt, which sucks. I was scared about Rashad Penny coming back, so that's kind of why I dealt him. And then my other big move was Alvin Kamara. I drafted him at 8. Somehow got him there. His ADP was probably like 2 or 3. So that was a crazy, crazy big for me to get him there. And also going 3 running backs right off the bat, that really helped me out throughout the year.
Yeah, it was a great performance. We're going to talk more about moves and transactions next week once this all gets sorted out. Kyle, same question for you. You were active, one of the owners that was wheeling and dealing and looking for improvement in your team on a weekly basis. What was the move that contributed the most to your success?
I'd say my best move was drafting Saquon Barkley, number 2 overall, because when he went down early in the season, I got blessed with our Lord and Savior James Robinson off the waiver wire. And if Barkley doesn't go down, I don't think I'm that, active on the waiver wire to pick up a Jacksonville running back. But with that injury, I knew I had to do something. Everyone was focused on Malcolm Brown, and I got my guy. So all my prayers and well wishes for this season are headed his way. I hope he has a great holiday, and James Robinson will forever be in my heart.
Very good. Very good. We're going to keep talking about transactions. Well, you and Tyler on the show tonight, you're involved in a few weeks ago in what people were really buzzing about in the league, your trade. Tell me if that trade that included Zeke Elliott impacted your team positively or negatively this year.
Yeah, I think that trade absolutely made no difference one way or the other. There really were no negatives because the same issues I was having with Zeke, or whether to start him or not, was the same thing I went through with Hilaire. Lockett, at least I didn't think about ever benching him, which maybe in hindsight, maybe I should have thought about benching him. But he, I thought, would give me the production that Mike Evans wasn't giving me. And it turns out he pretty much was doing exactly what Mike Evans did. So I think if I didn't make the trade, I'd probably be in the same position that I ended up being in. In retrospect, the two owners in the title game had made some very, very nice offers to me. And I kind of wish I would have pulled the trigger at one of them, because that actually might have had more of a positive impact. But yeah, overall, it wouldn't, in my mind, didn't make any difference in my season.
All right, Tyler, you were on the other side of that trade. Did that trade impact your team for the better or the worse?
I don't think it had really any effect whatsoever. As Bonner said, really had no bearing on the outcome of our matchup. We ended up going head to head in the first round, and both didn't do so hot here. So it left me playing the Blues. But it is what it is. We'll get loaded up next year, and we'll be back stronger than ever. Don't you worry.
You're going to get good at golf, Ty. You're going to get real good at golf.
Wow, it's getting tough. It's getting tough here on the podcast. All right, so we're heading into title week. Best week of the year outside of draft week, because we know who's going to have the golden toilet seat. It's going to be a historic game. I agree 100% with what Connor said earlier. This year, if you come out on top of this year's BARFF edition, that's something to be extra proud of. And so it's definitely good luck to all. Let's do parting shots for the week. Tyler, anything to say as we head into title time?
Said Connor, I wanted to give you a little motivation here, to beat Kyle in the championship. So I thought I would, give you a little something to go out on. Hopefully I learned this in about 5 minutes. So let's see if it comes out. It probably clipped the mic, but
There we go.
Smoke on the water.
Well done. Well done. The motivation has been provided. Kyle, I'm going to go to you. You're heading into yet another BARFF championship game. We're always talking about you come title time lately. What are your thoughts heading into this game with Huey Lewis in the news?
Well, man, you must be fired up after that. You must be ready for the big game. But anyways, this is what I wanted to see in the title. It's the two teams at the top. We were the best all year. And after every week, we always say it's nice seeing each other at the top. And as I say, the cream always rises to the top. And we're the creme de la creme. And I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have a good knock.
A good knock indeed. Connor, same question to you. Heading into the title game yet again for you. Your final thoughts on this week heading into title week.
Yeah, I think since maybe week 6 or 7, I've texted Kyle after every game. It's good to be at the top with you. So it's great to see him at the title game. And don't judge me on my winners, but judge me on my losers, because I have so few. That's all I got to say.
This is podcast number 16 and technical disaster number, 14 for the commission, at least. But we're heading into the 17th next week, and it's title time. Tell me what you see with this title game and your final thoughts on the week.
Yeah, so I agree. I think it is nice that the top two teams get to battle it out. I mean, overall, the whole season, they were there 1 and 2 all the way. So in my mind, they do deserve to be in the title game. As Kyle said, the cream rises to the top. But I think actually it may curdle for Sody Pantalones, because looking at his lineup this week, I sense there's a lot of potential, issues for him. The one being James Robinson, maybe dinged up a little. I'm not really sure. Antonio Gibson, he might start him. Turf toe, boom, one play could be out. You never know there. He's got, of course, our favorite crybaby of the year, Kenyon Drake. You can't necessarily count on him playing a whole game. So I do have concern for the Pantalones. Huey, to me, they're just solid top to bottom. So I think it's going to be definitely a very tough matchup for Bones, and I see Huey and Lewis kind of cementing themselves as the number one team for the BARFF season this year. So
Hey, if you want me to win, I play better as an underdog. So,
well, how did you do as my lock of the week?
I think like 2 out of 3. I think.
No, I think you did better than that. I think you backed me up a lot.
I did. All right. So keep
So-
it coming then.
So I'm going to say it. There's my lock of the week.
Oh,
The
boy.
news.
Oh,
Over to
boy.
Pantalones.
I
Why
don't
are you
like
doing
that.
this to him?
I don't like
I'm gonna
that
make
at all.
so many memes out of this, man. Why are you doing this to yourself?
Hey, it's gonna be a tie.
Yeah.
It's not doing it to myself. I don't have a horse in the race, my friend. Either one of you are obnoxious, so it doesn't really matter one way or the other.
So we have a lock of the week for the championship game going to Huey Lewis in the News. Walt's lock.
Jordan?
Very nice. Very nice. And here we are. I will say one parting shot for me, the comment that Kyle made in regards to the cream rises to the top. This year, we saw teams establish themselves at that top and fight their way all the way to the title game. This is a rarity in BARFF. BARFF is a league where that team with 6 and 7 wins sneaking into the playoffs, more often than not, if you look at our history, ends up playing for a title. I know that I have a couple of championships that were not based on any sort of devastating regular season. Most of my regular seasons are devastating insofar as that they hurt me emotionally. But this year, we had teams that were solid, and now we've got 2 of our rocks going at it, so it makes for an exciting game. Can't wait. Can't wait. And that is it. Everyone, thanks for being on. For those at home that are wondering some of our comments, we've already done this show once, but I had an audio difficulty, and so this is our second edition. But I think we did just as good the second time around. And so that's it for tonight. For my
Thank you.
co-host, Walt Mikulski, happy holidays to everyone. We'll see you next week. Title game, Huey Lewis in the News and Sody Pantalones. Good luck to both. Take care.
All right. Happy holidays, everyone. Good luck, boys.
Merry Holidays.